Limerick went out there from the war court today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Curry. Curry leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it hard.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're listening or indeed watching to us. It is episode 345 of Treaty Talk. Tom Clancy, as ever, joined by the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers, Matt O'Callaghan. Matt, moving week in the hurling. We're heading into a busy weekend of football. We've had, I suppose, knockout pairings decided in camogie and indeed in ladies football. So a very important time for so many clubs around this county of ours.
Yeah, sure. It's fantastic, Tom. But I suppose before we start this evening, we'd like to express a vote of sympathy to the Flanagan family of Knocklong. Hugh Flanagan, who is one of our rising under star hurlers with both Limerick and with Gaelic Masters. He lost his dad in the last week, and we would like to express our sincere sympathy to his mum and to Hugh and the Flanagan family on the passing of the untimely passing of Sean Flanagan.
Yeah, well said.
You're right. You're right there when you say, but it's hectic at the moment because we go from hurling last week, which was the penultimate round of the hurling. We go straight into the third round, which is the moving round of football. And in between, we had the ladies' football quarterfinals decided, and they're all down for decision this weekend, and on Sunday. And we have a few issues ironed out as well in the Camogie Championship. And in that round 2 has been played. Round 3 is coming up the weekend after next. And throw into the mix a very exciting minor hurling final between Ahan and Doon is coming up. And there's a C final between Granaban and Gary and Knockadary. So, like, it's a hectic program at the moment, Tom. Absolutely hectic.
It sure is. I think we should start with senior hurling. I suppose we do know a lot of our listeners, certainly from the feedback, are big fans of that and tuned into that among the other codes, but mainly senior hurling for a lot of people. We now know an awful lot more about who's in and who's out in the senior hurling championship. I think I saw one national newspaper, not the one that I would regularly scribe for, but they were highlighting Patrick Swell's relegation as a big talking point. It is a big talking point, Matt. Patrick Swell have suffered 4 consecutive defeats and they're heading for Group 2 for next season.
It's huge, Tom. It's huge. And nobody could have seen it coming. But I think we mentioned that last week that I think, the signs of it have, well, maybe not the signs of relegation, but the signs of a decline in Patrick Swell's fortunes have been, have been manifest there for the last 2 or 3 years. And I think it's going to be a bit of a road back now. They may not be too long in Group 2, but going forward into the future, if you follow the underage competitions, a lot of the Patrick Swell team, underage teams are playing down in divisions 2 and 3. That is not the Patrick Swell style, So it would look as if the conveyor belt isn't what it used to be, and certainly there will be an awful lot of soul searching done in Patrick Swell, I'm sure. Now, they weren't helped by injury this year, but the signs are probably there, Tom, since they lost the county quarter final to South Liberties a couple of years ago, and it has been a decline, and they've been struggling. They've been struggling basically since, whilst they have made the top 4. They haven't rooted up any trees, so it's a challenging time for the Well, and it's the first time that I suppose since 1965, when they made their breakthrough, that there is really a challenge ahead of Patrick Swell, because Patrick Swell are hurling nobility, Tom. They're one of the aristocrats of Limerick Hurling, the contribution they've made, Tom, to Limerick Hurling, the contribution they've made with their players to the county is simply phenomenal. Wherever you go, talk about Limerick Hurling, no matter where, even outside the country, like the name Patrickswell immediately springs to mind. That is the esteem in which Patrickswell are held in, and I don't think it gives anybody any great joy to see Patrickswell falling off the ledge. I believe it will be temporary, but for a sustainable future, I think that they will need a stronger underage structure. So, of course, you must also remember, Tom, and you're more familiar with this than I am, Patrickswell is only half a parish.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's its own village, really, in its own sense. I know you're saying about Patrickswell's, I suppose, fame around the country. I've often met people at various different places who would have some interest in hurling or sport, and they would say, "Where are you from?" And I would say maybe Ballybrown, or I might say Clarina, depending on which way I'd answer the question. And they would maybe be scratching their head, and I'd say, "It's the other half of the parish for Patrickswell." Oh, I know where you are now. That's the reality of it. Like, people.
This is it. Like, when you talk about Limerick Hurling, when the first name that comes, that invariably falls off people's lips, are Patrickswell. Like, and like if you see the contribution, Tom, they have made to All Ireland since going back all the way to 1973. With the Binnesses and Frankie Nolan, Sean Foley, to the current day with the three hurlers of the year. Like, their record, Tom, is simply phenomenal. And it's no use to Limerick Hurling, and it certainly gives. I don't think it gives anybody any pleasure to see him falling off the ledge for the moment. And let's hope that it will be temporary. But I think forensic analysis doesn't need to be done to know how it came about. But it's a sad day for Limerick Hurling.
Yeah, well, look, they're not gone from the senior rank. Perhaps the Group 2 will suit them better in the short term. Obviously, they'd love to be right up at the top as always, but I think maybe one step back to take two forward could be the mantra here.
Could be, yeah, absolutely. They'll probably get back into the groove pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, winning games can certainly lift the mood of any team or any club. It was a hand that they lost to 121 to 214 in Clahan last Friday evening. Clahan actually had this very early by, I think, 7 or 8 points. In fairness to the Well, they battled back goals from Diarmuid Burns, strike from a free. He almost scored another one, but Kevin O'Brien was there to pounce on the rebound and had Patrickswell leading. But I think a hand took control in the second half. Kevin O'Brien was sent off kind of during the last 10 minutes, and Ahan, I suppose, just did enough, eked out the win. And as ever, the Morrissey brothers to the fore, and Kieran Barry did a decent enough job on, it must be said, an injured Cian Lynch, who played at full forward, which is very, I suppose, something we never thought we'd see. But that's the point of Patrickswell's injuries coming back to haunt them.
I thought the hand performance in the second half, Tom, was very composed and efficient, and they obviously went out to do a job, and they did it very, very well, and it banished all fears of relegation for a hand, and it puts them in with a shout to make it to the quarterfinals, which I suppose, given that they have been in the senior B, Group 1 since 2019, and haven't got through, haven't broken the glass ceiling of getting into the knockout stages. I think very few people would begrudge it to them, but they have a huge game against Doon, Tom.
They do. Well, they're on 3 points. They're behind Kilmallock and Ballybrown and 4. Yeah, in 2019 they won Group 2, eking out Ballybrown, and since then it's been fifth place forever and a day. It seems like they've won the game that mattered. Now this year they actually lost the game that many, and I know Tom Morrissey said it, they lost the game that many would have thought they needed to win. But yes, they've picked up 2 results in the interim that leaves them with a fighting chance into the final round with Doon. And I think, you know, if you
It
saw
does, and I hear people drawing comparisons that they beat him and they beat Doon in the last round last year, and that's fine. But you know, two totally different sets of circumstances.
yeah, it was an
Irrespective of
absolute
what
bedroom
happened
last
last year, Doon were going to top the group. Doon have a bit of work to do to ensure that they get directly to the semi-final this time.
Yeah, I think they're in the semi-final already, Matt. It really,
I think they are, but you know, you could have a seismic mathematical shift in the last round.
yeah, not very likely given Kilmallock's. They have the head-to-head on Ballybrown. Doon have the head-to-head on Ballybrown. So if Doon lose and Ballybrown win, Doon will still finish in the top two. And if Kilmallock win and Doon lose, then it takes an almighty swing of points. It might be upwards of 20 points or something like that. So it would take a big Baalbek win and a heavy Doon loss, which is probably unthinkable at this juncture. But you're right; they do have something to play for on this occasion.
There's jeopardy involved in it this year. There wasn't last year.
That's for sure, yeah, and a hand of something to play for as well, which wasn't the case last year, and there's probably a little bit more pressure on them. But elsewhere,
plus the fact, Tom, that Doon will need to be coming into top form at this
I think that's
ahead of the knockout stages, and it's going to be the last real competitive game before a semi-final, probably. And like, nobody will convince me that Doon are at their best yet. They're certainly not. And they got out of jail, and the first to admit it was Darragh O'Donovan, who himself, by the way, had an absolute blinder.
Yeah, just on the context of the group last year, I mean, they'd beaten Piarsaigh, they'd beaten Patrickswell, they'd beaten Mungers, and they had beaten Kilmallock, and then they lost to a hand. Like, they were probably hurling an awful lot better. Okay, they took their eye off the ball in the final round, but this year it's been a little bit, 2 wins and 2 draws is not bad form by any means, but certainly not fluid. I mean, they won by a point the other day, and they won't convince it against Patrickswell. But as we know, Patrickswell's form is not good. It's not a yardstick to measure yourself by. Moving to that Doon victory over Ballybrown. Ballybrown led by 5 points twice in the last closing stages. I know you were there, Matt, as well. Yeah. They were back to 2 points when Darragh O'Donovan buried a free. Ross Kenny went up and picked out the top corner, back to 5. And then down the other end came a score, a goal from Pat Ryan, or I'm mixing up the order there, sorry, but back to 2 points again. And Doon found, was it 5 at the last 6 points to win it? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, but that's the mark of champions, Tom. Now I know we had the unfortunate miss for Aidan O'Connor, and our heart goes out to him there at the finish. Like when the free was moved in, and you just wonder, had it not been moved in, would he have knocked it over? That's an imponderable, and but it would have forced a draw and would have put Ballybrown in a very, very strong position for a knockout place.
It would, yeah. Well, they still are well placed. That's for sure. But I suppose it would have really, really assured them. I think it would have guaranteed them progress almost certainly, given the way things played out for Kilmallock the next day. Ballybrown did hurl very well, Matt, but again, a bit like it looked like they were going to obliterate the wides count against Patrickswell. I think they ended up just short of it, but they've hit 35 to 40 wides in the last
2 games.
The last 2 games, is it? I think maybe 19 and 18 or 19 and 17, something like that. That's a hell of a lot of wasted possession.
It's a damning statistic, if you like, but it's something that can be rectified. It is something that can be rectified in the training ground. But in that regard, what could be their greatest enemy at the moment is time, because the games are coming so thick and fast, and you'll be into a quarter final within 2 weeks of the final group game.
Within a week, isn't it?
Within a week, actually.
Yeah, could be within 6-7 days. Yeah.
6 or 7 days. So it's a problem. It's a problem, but it can be rectified.
Yeah, no, Doon were very wasteful as well in the second half themselves, in trying to eke their way back into the lead. But I think Ballybrown will be happy they showed what they're about. They've shown now that they can match for a long spells against the county champions. It's just can they repeat it against the Kilmallocks the next day, and then in a knockout game? That's the challenge,
They've shown it, Tom, but you still have to get the end product. They still have to get the end product. Now, the end product on one hand is, cutting down wastefulness in with the targeting side, but the real end product, Tom, is that you get to where you want to be, which is the knockout stages of the competition.
Yeah, and I think
which with the configuration of this this Ballybrown team, Tom, I honestly believe it would do them an absolute power of good what they to get into knockout hurling.
Yeah,
whether to get into it, there'd be nobody's pushover, Tom.
Yeah, a draw the next day should do it for themselves and Kilmallock. Obviously a win will guarantee as well for those sides. Moving along, Matt, in this group, the Na Piarsaigh juggernaut starting to ramp up, I think it's fair to say. And,
it is, and I think they sowed the seeds, Tom, of this latest victory over Kilmallock in the first half, when they were playing into a stiffish breeze and went in level at half time. Now I know Kilmallock suffered a couple of losses in the first half when Kieran O'Connor and Graham Mulcahy had to leave the field, which were a big loss. But Kilmallock didn't score at all, Tom, in the last quarter, which in itself is worrying now. I know there was a stiff breeze, but Piarsaigh seemed to make light of that breeze. And I think William O'Donoghue, when he was talking to was it yourself or John Keogh?
Yeah.
He made the point, of how they worked against the breeze much better than Kilmallock, and I think that was a decisive factor. But overall, I thought that the Piarsaigh were the better team, Tom. If you extrapolate the breeze out of it altogether, I wouldn't attribute Kilmallock's defeat to not using the breeze to the full extent that they could have or should have. I think the better team won on the day.
Yeah, that's sure. I think Na Piarsaigh haven't lost a half of hurling yet this season. What's that? It's eight halves. They've been very competitive right from the outset of games. They've dominated in second halves in a couple of games as well, and they're heading to a game now with Patrick's. Well, they can kind of do what they like, if you know what I mean, in terms of they can decide to start Peter Casey if they wish. They can give him 40 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever they want, and so on. And there's other players, they might look at different things. It's great for them to have that luxury now of I suppose trying to build up for a semi-final as it is, and also not have to go hammer and tongs in the last round as they might.
Oh yeah, trying to appease players and upcoming players chomping at the bit to get into the team. Like they have serious competition, and they can afford. They have the luxury of being able to make changes without affecting what John Kiley famously says is the process. They are a well-oiled machine, no question about it.
Just to mention again, I mentioned him there, Peter Casey. I think he came on for 19 or 20 minutes in last year's county final, perhaps prematurely, maybe in terms of his injury, but such is the dedication and the desire to hurl for his club. He did everything, I'm sure, to get back. His fitness and injury has kind of hampered his year so far, but I suppose we're hoping now this is a new chapter for Peter and a clean run of health at club and county level, because it's great to see him back, and he looked sharp as well in those few minutes he got at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. But there was a common thread this weekend, Tom, and if you look at it, and it's in relation to the county players, and we were saying that the county players weren't coming up to the mark. Your Darrow Donovan, absolutely outstanding for doing.
Yeah.
William O'Donoghue with a blinder from the Piarsaigh. Declan Hannon, a game for the ages for a dare.
2-2, yeah.
And the two Morrises for a hand.
Yeah, and even we had Donegal Dalek as player of the match in the Thursday stream game as well. For
yes.
He scored 3 points in less than 3 minutes at the start of the second half. Another inter-county player. These guys are.
I would say to anybody that's writing the obituary of Limerick players, please put down the pen for another while anyway.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, look, the context of that group, Na Piarsaigh are in a semi-final. Doon have maybe 1 foot and 4 toes, as it were, in it. Kilmallock and Ballybrown are well placed, but they will want to keep it in their own hands by getting a win on the final day. And the hand will need to win and potentially need a favour or two in the other direction, but will need to keep up their side of the back.
There's one simple permutation here, Tom. If a hand beat Doon and there's a result in the Ballybrown Kilmallock game, the loser of the Ballybrown Kilmallock game is out.
Yeah, that's true. If hand draw and the Kilmallock lose, then it's down to head because they drew earlier as well. And if Ballybrown and Kilmallock draw, then I think it's down to scoring difference. So potentially between three teams, if a hand win, but a hand's first if is the biggest if they have to beat.
Yeah.
And that's their side of the bargain that they have to hold up or whatever about anything else. Those games were scheduled, Matt, wasn't it, for the Saturday the 13th?
Saturday the 13th. All games are on, Tom. All the games in
senior hurling, yeah.
They're well staggered out now.
Yeah, the Group 2 games are at 2:00 and the Group 1 games are 5. Although
at 5, which is
the Piarsaigh and Patrickswell is at 3, but as I said,
at 3, but that's a dead rubber.
It is. Moving to Group 2, Matt, I'm conscious of time now when we've guests coming up, which is great as always. The Group 2, I mentioned Monaleen there in passing. They eventually held on 2 points. Could have very easily been a draw with the last gasp against Newcastle West. They were 9 or 10 points behind Newcastle West.
Yeah.
Came surging back into it, but just couldn't get it done. And it means Monaleen, with their 4 wins from 4, have the Group 1. They have quarter-final tickets booked, and they will be dining at the top table next season. So, job well and truly done by Owen Breslan and company with a game to spare.
Yeah, I think we flagged it from the start here, Tom. From the first night we saw him, I think I made a point.
Before that,
yeah, but yeah, possibly before it. Yeah, but there's something about Monaleen, and it is something that they can carry over into Group 1, and that is they fly out of the traps in the first half, build up a big lead, and taper off.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, when you go up with the big boys, they won't allow you build this big lead. And, whether it's they're getting a mental block or what is that they have the job done at halftime, because when they're in full flow, Tom, they're simply awesome.
Yeah, and I actually thought
fantastic to watch. Now, in contrast to that, we have, if you look at the Newcastle West record in this competition, Newcastle West are giving teams big leads and then trying to claw them back.
Yeah, and they did twice against Mungers and Kildare Palskenny, wasn't it? They were kind of behind.
And now they nearly did it against Monaleen.
Yeah. The thing about Monaleen, I thought at the start of the second half, Donegal Dalek hit 3 points in 2 minutes and 50 seconds or something like that, and I thought that's it now. That's game over really. But slowly but surely, then they gave away fouls. The ball was brought up for dissent. The ball was thrown away. There was, Mike Quilligan, in fairness to him, he ended up with 4 points, including one from play in the first half. But they were slowly, the wheel was turning back the other way. Ethan Hurley chipped in with a point or two. Who else is just scoring there for Newcastle West? Like they chipped it all the way back, and right at the last, Con Hayes, wasn't it? Last play of the game, 3 points down, did it so much right, beat his man, got a shot away, just maybe a foot and a half too high, and flew over the bar rather than under. And I tell you, there was some sigh of relief. Now, the draw probably would have done Monaleen, but there was some sigh of relief that they hadn't thrown away the victory from that position. And in fairness to Newcastle West, they were gutted that they couldn't snatch a draw and really improved their position heading into the final round.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's no doubt, Tom. Monaleen are learning all the time, and they've made progress. Like the first year that after winning the All-Ireland, they came up, they won 3 games, they won 4 last year. To be very hard to bet against them winning 5 this year. So it's a gradual improvement. But I have noticed that little, what I mentioned earlier on, this great start and being unable to, whether it's a mental thing or whether they're emptying the tanks too much in the first half, I'm not sure. But when they're in full flow, Tom, you'd watch them all day. They're a lovely hurling team to watch. They're lovely hurling.
Yeah,
and
there caused a few problems, won't they, in the next round in the quarterfinal for them?
They'll cause huge problems, and they nearly did it last year as well. They came within a whisker of doing it in Rough that day against Patrickswell. So, Monaleen are going to be no pushover, Tom. but they will have to sustain that effort, what I'm saying, for over 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's for
And
sure.
I'm sure they're as conscious of it as anybody else, because that has been a trend in the 4 games. Basically, they're nearly out the gate at half-time, Tom.
Yeah, well, they stretched their lead after halftime this time, which was even more concerning that they nearly lasted from there, because if they hadn't done well after halftime, they might well have thrown it away entirely. In second place in this group presently is Dare, 2 wins and a draw. They can secure their second spot with a win in the final round against, I'm trying to think who they're playing in the final round, Newcastle West.
Newcastle West.
Yeah, but they did their chances no harm with a 4-17 to 115 victory over Drummond at Lacca in a very, very windy Ballingarry match. Your hat was nearly travelling further than the ball at some stage.
I had to go hatless for a while, Tom.
Hold on to your hats, as they say. Yeah.
Hold on to your hat. It was a windy day, but that didn't take from what was a much improved. I've seen it there, I think, in their 4 games this year, and I've seen measurable improvement as they've been going along, Tom. And like they've been dogged by injury, like they've been dogged, and like you saw again last Saturday, Willie Griffin was out on the bench beside us, which he didn't play at all. Mike Keane and Wayne Mack only played bit parts in the second half, so. But I thought it was an efficient performance, but Declan Hannon was absolutely outstanding, really, really outstanding. And, he got 2 goals and 2 points, but that's only half the story, Tom.
Would you see my point in saying that he was outstanding? Absolutely, but at the same time, there was long periods where he wasn't involved in the game, but when he was involved in the game, my God, was he effective.
This is the point. Everything he did, had a positive, was so positive. Like he set up, he clearly said he put another goal on the plate.
Yeah, the 2 he got were quite some finishes as well. And
they were like the last one where he veered in from the right and he put it in from a tight angle, but you could see the way he was moving that there was only going to be one result.
Yeah,
but it was the way he brought other players in and his whole influence around the middle. I thought he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, they'll fancy their chances in the West Derby against. It's kind of bizarre to say winless Newcastle West now. Obviously, Newcastle West will look to win and join them on 5 points and then see what comes of it from there. But this group is still very much up in the air for who will get that second spot there, as I said, leading the way. Mungret St. Paul's did their chances no harm at all with that.
No victory. Harm at all. You just took the word out of my mouth, Tom.
Yeah.
Mungret St. Paul's are in this conversation.
Yeah, 1 win now, 2 draws, and that defeat then against Monaleen. So if you take it that maybe everyone might lose out to Monaleen, they're not too badly placed. They're Mungret. They obviously need now to win against fixtures are messed around in my head.
Mungret St. Paul's are playing Drummond at Lacca.
They're
playing Kildaimo Pallaskenry.
Yes, so Mungret will need to win, and then I suppose they need to hope that Newcastle West will do them a favour in terms of maybe drawing or winning that game, and that will throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Now the scoring difference could decide this second spot in this group or head to head, but there's been so many draws that the head to head is probably going to be taken out of it. But yeah, Mungret 118 to 10 points victors over Kildaimo Pallaskenry improved their scoring difference, improved their position in the table, and improved the mood around the camp, I'm sure, with that win as well.
Yeah, because Tom, let's face it, after 3 games, the mood around the camp was, can we avoid a second relegation? Because they were in the relegation mix down there on 2 points.
Yeah. Well, they knew at that point, going into last weekend, if they lost their 2 games, they were relegated. That was the scenario.
Yeah, and the point it was a false position. I thought they were in a false position because I've seen them a couple of times, and I think they were better. Than their 2 points suggested. Now I didn't see the win over Kildaimo Pallaskenry, but apparently it was as comprehensive as the scoreline would suggest. Unfortunately for Kildaimo Pallaskenry, they lost a number of players at the start of the year, Tom, and their woes have been compounded by the loss of their talisman Kyle Hayes. what Kyle brings to the Kildare Palestine team is just simply phenomenal. And add in the loss of Tony McCarthy. What a warrior Tony is. And like you've two key players gone. And like any club that loses a couple of key players, Tom, unless you're one of the Piarsaighs of this world or Doon of this world, who where you have absolutely fantastic playing resources, and you just cannot afford to lose them, Tom. It's as simple as that.
That's true. It's so true. And when it's
a simple equation.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, and Kyle is a huge loss to them. They're currently in 5th position. Now, thankfully, from their point of view, they have the head-to-head over Drummond at Lacka. So,
but Tom, there could be a very interesting scenario there now.
Yes. Give it to me.
If Drummond at Lacka beat Newcastle West, and Monaleen beat
no, Drummond at Lacka would have to beat Mungret.
Beat Mungret.
Yeah.
And if Newcastle West lose to Adair, you could have 3 teams on 3 points.
And Monaleen beat Kildare Pallaskenry is the final.
Yes.
Yeah. If they're your 3 results, the bottom 3 as it stands. Sorry, Newcastle West and Kildare will lose, and Drummond at Lacka win. That would leave 3 teams on 3 points. As far as I know, it is in the rules. I need to cite the rule myself now in the rule book, but as far as I know, no team is permissible to be relegated on scoring difference. Now, we need to get that clarified before next weekend, but that is my understanding of it at this juncture. It hasn't happened.
Since when, Tom?
It was cited to me last year with regards to Glenroe and the Piarsaigh and Premier Intermediate. Said if the 2 teams finish level, that it wouldn't be allowed. But look,
that's 2 teams. But what if 3 teams?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what the scenario is there. I think you'd end up with potential for a playoff. Would be my view of it. But look, we'll have to see what happens next weekend. But at this remove, we didn't mention them much.
Playoffs, Tom, and we can't have replays. Yeah, and we can hardly, we haven't enough of Sundays, or we haven't enough of weeks, or we haven't enough of days on the calendar for the fixtures we have to make without making more of them.
Well, the thing about playing relegation playoffs, Matt, is you could play them till Christmas Day because there's no Munster club impact from them.
I know, I get all that, Tom, but you have a situation with pitches which will be deteriorating because of the deteriorating weather. Yeah. And they won't be as available as they have to be during the summer. You have the whole issue of referees, and the chronic. Like tis very sad, Tom, that with the situation in our county last week, where there were underage matches not played because there wasn't referees available.
Yeah, I think there was about 6 there.
We've got to make a clear distinction here. It is not referees not turning up, Tom.
Yeah, there was no referee available.
Not enough referees to go around.
Yeah. I've said this on different forums, and I've said this to people. As far as I'm aware, there's around 50 referees in Limerick, of which I am listed one. But obviously, given my professional commitments and personal commitments to other things, I'm not available all the time. No referee is available 24/7. Anyway, I think that's fair to say. But we're down to about 50 or thereabouts in Limerick, sometimes less. Whereas there was 110 this time 10 years ago or thereabouts as well. So we've basically...
That's what you're facing, Tom, and you still have lugs going around directing vitriol at referees.
Yeah, which is bizarre.
No, it's not a laughing matter. It's dead serious. I'm dead serious about it, Tom.
I laugh in jest because I
know you're probably a recipient of it.
I see it secondhand.
It has to stop.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a tangent away from the senior hurling championship. But look, I'll try and get it clarified before the final round, and we might have more news on it next week about what the scenario is where 2, 3 or even more teams end up tied for the bottom spot in the group, as it were, and what's the tie-break scenario. But look, Drummond at Lacka...
I'm asking myself, where are these decisions being made? Who are making those decisions?
I don't know. Someone will have to send me the rule book anyway if you're listening, and you have it to send it on to me.
It's like chasing the Holy Grail, chasing the rule book. Keep the masses in ignorance. That's
Just to clarify with people, the teams that come first and second in this group will be drawn. There will be an open draw to see against third and fourth in the group above. It is not, as some people suggested to me, that Monleen will be automatically facing the team that comes fourth. That is not the case, and has not been for the last.
No, it has not been the case for the last couple of years.
Yeah, for the last maybe since as far back as I can remember, since this format has been placed, that has not been. It is an open draw. Well, not an open draw, but a draw across groups rather than a seeded scenario. Anyway, look, Drummond at Lackamat need to pick up a win. Other than that, they are gone. That is
anything other than a win, and a win gives them a lifeline, depending on what happens elsewhere.
Yeah,
even a win, they're depending on other results.
Yeah, that's for sure, because the two
they've been hit by injury as well. Keane Scully now has picked up a nasty injury, as you saw last week.
Yes.
He's been out and is going to be out for a considerable amount of time. Jack Fitzgibbon was missing as well the other day. So, clubs like Drummond and Clackett, and I know it's just like ourselves here in Glenroe, small rural clubs, they just don't have the resources when it comes to losing the 2 or 3 players. You're in trouble.
Yeah, okay. We need to move the conversation on. Our guests are imminent. Moving to the Premier Intermediate match, just to, I suppose, make top line news from this is that the Bouncers have been beaten and are now still atop of the pile, joined now by Croke Kilfinny on 8 points, 4 wins and a loss for both of those. Effin are firmly back in the picture after, I suppose, a sluggish start, 3 wins and a draw. Yeah. Granabell and Gary, 3 wins and 2 defeats, are occupying that other top 4 spot. But I think Bruff looking, I suppose, to finish the campaign strongly and maybe just try and nick in for that 4th spot. But a reminder in this group, Matt, that there is still 2 rounds to play. So all still to play for in terms of that top 4 for a couple of sides at least.
Yeah, but you still have to say that Garrisballan and Croke Kilfinny, they're almost in the set category to progress to the semi-finals. Effin are in a very strong position, Tom. Now, Granabell and Gary are coming. They had a couple of wins, they had a couple of defeats, and they've arrested it, and they're now back in the mix. But there's a very interesting scramble at the very bottom, Tom, between Glenroe, who have 3 points, Blackrock, who have 2, and South Liberties have 2. There's a couple of very interesting games coming up. In the next round, you have Glenroe and Blackrock, and in the final round, you have Blackrock and South Liberties. So they're going to be hugely important games in the context of the battle at the bottom, because Blackrock, were they to wait, if Glenroe win their 2 games, they could possibly make it on 7 points. It has only happened once before. But the way the configuration of the table at the moment, it may be possible that someone would get in on 7 points, but it's unlikely, though, I think, because if Effin beat Bruff in the next round, and Drummond at Granabell and Gary, who do they play in the next round, Tom?
Granabell and Gary playing Croke Kilfinny.
No, they played Croke Kilfinny.
Granabell and Gary are playing Garrisballan, I should say. I knew it was one of the top
Garrisballan. Well, Effin and remember that Granabell and Gary beat Garrisballan last year.
Yeah, but Granabell and Gary play Effin in the final round as well, so there's no guarantee of points coming for Granabell and Gary at this point,
Yeah, but
they're playing 2 of the top 3 in the final.
You would say going into the last 3 rounds, after they had fallen off the ledge after the first 2 rounds, that there was very few points there for Granabell and Gary, and they picked up 2 points last week, Tom. This is and like Glenroe went so close to Croke Kilfinny.
3 points is it in the end, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks be to God, Tom, tisn't among the predictions.
That's for sure. Just moving down to the Nick Green Sports Ground County Intermediate Hurling Championship. Cappamore and Brewery, I think we were certain they were already in the knockouts last week, and now they're into the final round, where whoever wins will be in the semi-final. They're both through. There's a scramble then between Hospital Herberstown and Fina Kilmeady for the other spot, and Croom and Munger St. Paul's will be meeting in the final round. So in the last round match in this group, you have 1st versus 2nd, 3rd versus 4th, and 5th versus 6th. So season-defining games, I think, for in a lot of cases there. The other group, Maru Boher, are now assured of a semi-final spot after a victory over Knockganey, 4 wins from 4. Fiona and Na Piarsaigh in behind with 2 wins and a draw. Knockganey with 1 win and a draw, but meaning that Na Piarsaigh versus Knockganey in the final round could be a de facto, I suppose, push for the third spot in that group. And St. Kieran's and Palace Green are playing in the final round as well. Sorry, they're in the final round where they probably need a result to assure themselves of avoiding the relegation playoff. So plenty of, I suppose, turbulence ahead for some clubs in that. But Palace Green probably the surprise disappointment so far in the campaign with 1 draw from their 4 starts. That's the
I think that is a bit of a surprise and disappointing, and they're doing pretty well in the football.
They are. We will just turn to football. I know we have we'll have a chat with good folk from the Limerick Masters in a few minutes, but just to turn to senior football, Matt, this week we have we have 5 games in the senior championship at the weekend, and we have another one early next week. It's moving week. I think you dubbed it there at the start of the show. Looking and just trying to find the fixtures here now. I know we have one game.
Just while you're finding them, usually at the end of round 3, you have a fair sense of who are the contenders for the knockout places, and you have an idea of those clubs that are in trouble. Yeah. And it will be squeaky bum time for some of them in the final 2 rounds, but. If we look at them, if Adair beat Ula, I think that's Group 1, is it?
That's Group 1, yeah.
If Adair beat Ula, they will be through. I would think they'll definitely be through to the knockout stages. And another very interesting game in that one will be Father Casey's and Monaleen.
Yeah, that's the one game that's pushed back to the following Tuesday, the 9th.
It's pushed back to Tuesday night, but at the outset of the campaign, if you were rating the teams based on their performance last year, when Father Casey's were beaten in the county final and Monaleen were only avoided the relegation playoff with a last round win over Ballylanders, you would have said that it was a banker for Father Casey's. It isn't a banker for Father Casey's. It's a game that Father Casey's must win, Tom. That's what it is for him, because at the moment Monaleen sit on full points, 4 points from 2 games, and Father Casey's have just a single point from a draw with Ula, the last day out. So that is going to be one of the interesting games of the group. And then you have 2 teams meeting in that have both lost both games, Rathkeil and Na Piarsaigh. Now Na Piarsaigh, you just remind people that Na Piarsaigh lost the first 2 rounds last year and still qualified for the knockout stages because they won 2 and drew 1 of the last 3. So they'll be hoping to do the same next year. Now, Rathkeil lost rather heavily to Monaleen in the first round, but put up a whopping performance against Adair in the second round that just came up short. And that's going to be a very, very interesting game. But with 2 teams going into the relegation semi-finals this year, it's an imperative for both sides to win it, because you could definitely say that the loser of that game, Tom, is going to be, barring something unforeseen, is going to be among the relegation playoff semi-finals.
Yeah, they're almost certain. I think it depends on what happens in the other games, but I think you're dead right there. There's a fair probability that the loser, Rathkeil and Na Piarsaigh, is in big bother. The one stream game this week is Ula versus Adair at 6:15 in Clahan on Friday evening. So I think that is probably one of the pick of the weekend, really, in a lot of ways. Ula very impressive in their 2 games so far. Probably will feel a little bit that they should have 2 wins on the board, but a win in the draw nonetheless has them well placed. And obviously Adair, the defending champions, looking to reassert themselves in terms of gathering another win to knock out football, 2 wins from 2. So I like the prospect of that one. But Matt, we flip to Group 2, and just Kildare Pallaskenry and Mungret St. Paul's. I suppose Mungret St. Paul's injury woes carry across both codes. They're not exclusive, obviously. They had a good win the first time out against Ballylanders, but they'll need to pick something up here to change the tune of their season.
Mungret St. Paul's lost to Newcastle West in the first round.
Kildare Pallaskenry.
Kildare Pallaskenry, yeah. Look, the injuries are mounting, and like the unfortunate thing is like that from a Kildare Pallaskenry perspective is that Tony McCarthy was one of Limerick's, had a fantastic year with Limerick in the Tarleton Cup, and he's an absolutely huge loss. But Kyle Hayes, Tom, now we're not associated with football, but Kyle Hayes turned out in the first round and had a fantastic game, I thought. Looked quite at home in football and had a hugely influential game. And he is a loss now. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Kildare Pallaskenry. Really against Newcastle West, they were overwhelmed. They didn't score in the second half. Ian Corbett got 3 goals. Look, Declan Nash will be hoping to get a response from his players, but like Mungret St. Paul's, Tom, aren't the ideal team to be facing if you're in Kildare Pallaskenry circumstances. They won all their group games last year. They've only lost 1 group game out of 7 since they were promoted. They pushed Father Casey's all the way in the semi-final last year. They have a couple of key county players, the like of Killian Ryan, Darrow Hagan, Jason Hassett, Ron McGilligan in the goal, Jack McCarthy. They're big names, and I think Mungret St. Paul's are. I honestly believe and convinced that Mungret St. Paul's will be involved in the knockout stages of this competition, Tom, despite losing to Newcastle West in the first round.
Yeah, just in this group, that's a city divisional derby, if you like, Kildare Pallaskenry and Mungret St. Paul's. Then you have a West divisional derby also on Friday, Newcastle West against St. Kieran's, and then on Saturday we have a small matter of Ballylanders versus Galtee Gaels. So it's an exciting weekend in the context of those.
St. Kieran's, they won the first 2 games last year, then lost 3, and they lost John Hayes, who would be a very influential player. Looked very good. I saw him in the first round against Galtee Gaels. Dara Tracy is having a fantastic season. Liam Kennedy is stepping up to the mark. Basically, there's certainly going to be no pushover for Newcastle West. And talking to Seamus O'Donnell afterwards, he made no secret of the fact that the one game they want to win is the game against Newcastle West. So, and mind you, Tom, if you go back through the years, they have a decent record against Newcastle West. They're quite capable of causing Newcastle West problems, but like we haven't seen the true Newcastle West yet this year. And it was fantastic, Tom, to see Brian Nix return with the Hurlers last week and to be in such good form, and that augurs well for the football team as well. And Rudon O'Connor and Mike O'Keefe, Darren Doherty, and Emmett Richter, Tom, has only played about 5 minutes of championship football this year. So he'll be closing in on the return. I think it could be very, very tight, but I fancy Newcastle West to win it, Tom.
Yeah, as you probably should, have such an impeccable record in this group stages down the years. The other one then, Ballylanders and Galtee Gaels. The men from the south will descend all over Kilmallock for this one. I'd say to be a healthy crowd at this, plenty of banter and plenty of rivalry. But the context, of course, is that neither side have picked up a point yet. So it's you're talking about squeaky bum time. I think this is the definition of it, is it? In Limerick Senior Football.
It's a mirror image in terms of the context of the group. It's a mirror image of the Piarsaigh Brett Keel game. Two teams that are both pointless, and Ballylanders are going through a difficult time, Tom. There's, it doesn't give me any pleasure to say so. They've lost. They've only survived in the last and in the last 3 relegation finals, and they've had a difficult start to the year, losing very heavily to Kildimo-Pallaskenry in the opening round, and then losing to St. Kieran's in the second round, although it was a better performance. I think Galtee Gaels, I saw the Gaels playing against St. Kieran's. Possibly St. Kieran's deserved to win on the day, but maybe by not as much as they won. They pushed Munger all the way. I could see. I think this is one that the Gaels will win, Tom.
Piling the pressure on your neighbours there, fair play to you.
Well, I obviously Ballylanders. I'd want them to win, but the
reality is Ballylanders, I think, have won one group game in the last 2 and a bit seasons now at this stage, isn't it? So
that's correct.
Right, yeah. So, like when you bear it out like that, they've really struggled for form. But look, that's it in terms of the Irish Wire Products County Senior Football Championship this weekend. Plethora of those games on Friday. Ballylanders and Gaelic Gaels is Saturday. But I think we should turn our attention, Matt, to a certain All-Ireland final that's happening at the weekend. And delighted to say we'll bring in our 2 guests now from the Limerick Gaelic Masters. That's namely Michael Reedy and Anthony McCarthy. Gentlemen, you're very welcome to Treaty Talk.
How are you, lads?
How are you, lads?
Good,
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Very good, yeah. Lads, London is calling, or London are calling, whatever way you want to look at it. It's I'll start with you, Anthony, as the manager of this Limerick Football Master side. London up in the final. I'm sure the excitement is really starting to build for the lads in the last couple of days, with the final not too far away now.
Oh, seriously, Tom, the excitement is growing the whole time. The lads are looking forward to it. We're, as I said the other night, we're fairly confident. Things are going very well at training. Everything you ask the lads to do, they're doing it. So yes, we're confident. We're travelling to Dublin in confidence. So hopefully at 3:30 on Saturday, we'll have Mike will be picking up a cup for us.
Yeah, Mike, I've named the podcast here. I don't know, I change it, but life begins at 40. I think that's kind of the subtle tagline for the Masters. You're enjoying the experience anyway, and I'm sure no matter what the grade, the code, the time of year, when you're heading into an All-Ireland final, I think it must be very exciting for everyone involved.
It's brilliant. It's the excitement's been the last week or two now. It definitely is a semi-final win. But like you say about being turn of 40, like you think you're coming to the end of your football career, that stage. But since I went in with the boys last year, it's given me a new lease of life, and I know the rest of the boys are in the same boat, It's been brilliant.
How do you find the lads at this stage of their careers for keeping up the fitness? Is this an excuse to keep fit? Is it an excuse to get involved? It's probably a community as much as anything as well.
Oh yeah, it's very much on the field and off the field. We get on very well together. The fitness levels would be good. I'll be straight with you. When I went in last year, I didn't know what to expect with fitness levels, but I couldn't get over how competitive it is with fitness levels. With over 40 lads, it's brilliant. With every team you play against, even I find this year, even the fitness levels of all the teams have improved upon, and including ourselves, it's been great.
You also play under the old rules as well, Mike. As such,
there was talks to start. Yeah, there was talks to start the year going with the new rules, but I think we'll be fairly dodgy draw because it is for new rules. There's a lot of running in that, and it's very fast paced. So happy enough to stick with the old rules.
That's it, Matt. I'll let you come in.
And Anthony, kind of a tough start to the campaign. The question I get asked: How did Limerick Masters have their first 3 games away from home?
Matt, that's $1 million question. We don't know. I never seen it. This is our 3rd year into it. I'd never seen it happen. 3 games away from home. Travelled down to Kerry, travelled to Clare, and we travelled to Waterford. And it was 3 tough games. Look, we lost our first 2. No, in fairness, we didn't play. We weren't a million miles away from Kerry, but they were a bit more cuter and clever on the night than us. I think they beat us by 6 points, but I don't think it was a 6 points defeat. We played well. Then we travelled down to Clare. All was an awful night down Clare. Wind, rain, everything. And just as a night we had chances to win it and draw it. I think Clare all they got in the second half was a goal. And that's what it ended up beating us by. Like, we owned the ball for 40 minutes, but just couldn't put the ball over the bar or get our scores the same day. And then we travelled to Waterford. It was kind of a must-win game. And lucky enough the same day, just on half-time, we got a goal. And in the second half then, I think it was Keith, Hartner and Anthony Mullen who scored goals. And, after we went ahead against Waterford, we were kind of always in control then. So, yeah, look at from there then, that's when our season picked up after winning that game. We picked up after that.
Yeah, you picked up after that, and you picked up a draw at home to Leitrim Longford. And then you had that abortive fixture with Wicklow, where Wicklow handed a walkover. How much did that disrupt the season? Because it certainly wasn't on the agenda that you would be getting a walkover, because you had a bit of momentum built up on the field. You'd beaten Waterford, you had drawn with Leitrim Longford, and here you are now getting a free puck.
It was, man. It was awful, because after that we had a 5-week break after the Leitrim. 3-week break. 5 weeks. We played Leitrim Longford, and then we played 3 weeks after that, and no match, and then 2 weeks again. So we had a 5-week break there. We had 5 weeks where we had to try and fill a hole there, where we had the momentum, and we had to try and fill up there. And like, we did lose a small bit of momentum. We went up and we played Mayo, and you could see it against Mayo in the first half. They had a game 2 weeks before that. We didn't have a game, and we made mistakes, and they punished us in the mistakes that night above there.
Michael, talk to us about the playoff with Wicklow. To say the least about it, absolutely dramatic.
It was carnage at times. Like, it was a good game. It was a very tough game physically. Like, it was a warm day as well, but it just, towards the end of the normal time, it went crazy. No, we rallied well. We had a few senders offs in the game, and we rallied well towards the end of the normal time. And then into extra time, then again we were back up to 14 players, I think, or 15, not sure. But it was just it ebbed and flow all through the game. And then we were 2 points down with about a minute to go, I think. And then we got a goal, the last kick of the game, basically, to win the game. Yeah. But on that, I think that was the day I felt that we really turned the corner of the team, because we came through a very tough battle that day. Like, it was one of the hardest games I've played. And I thought after that game, I said, there's no stopping us now. So.
Yeah, Michael, in the context of that game, it meant that you were going into the Challenge Cup as distinct from the Tier 5 Spirit Cup. How important was that to the group? We won the Spirit Cup in 2023, which was our first year. You were involved in it, Anthony. I don't think you were, Michael. But
no, I wasn't.
How important was it that Limerick sealed the step up to the Challenge Cup?
It's very important. Like, I suppose at the start of the year, like, we added a few new lads this year to the squad, and they've improved the squad again. But definitely at the start of the year, our goal was to get to a step up from the Spirit Cup final, if we could. We were hoping that we get to either Division 3 or Division 4 around that area, if we could. Obviously, if we can get higher, great. But that was definitely our goal from the first time we met up, that we were going to try and make an All-Ireland final, and hopefully a level above that we played 2 years ago.
Yeah. Anthony, I mentioned it there. It's a community. I suppose the lads did a great effort last week in terms of raising money for Milford Hospice out in Adair. Now, I wouldn't be one for getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do a bit of cycling, but the lads did I suppose the Spinathon, and the Woodlands are obviously very good to you, I'm sure, throughout the year. I see they're sponsoring your tops even there, and the jerseys and the like. Those sort of things are probably very important to the group as well, that lads buy in. They don't just turn up for matches, they have to turn up to training and turn up to other things and get involved in different things that you're doing during the year. And something like that last week is a simple idea, but you have to get buy-in from everyone on it.
Oh, every player bought into it. We had people on bikes from 8:30 in the morning up till 8:30 the following morning, even at 8:30 the following morning. I think there was seven of the lads that were there when we closed it out. But look at they organised this thing, the cycleton, and look, people bought into it. Every player bought into it. I don't think there was any player that wasn't available on the night. And if they weren't available, they sent down a family member to go on to help us out. And look, there's one man really that needs credit for a lot of that is Liam Mulcahy. He drove it on for us, and Woodlands, the Fitzgerald family in the Woodlands, they were exceptional to us. Whatever we needed that night, there was water supply, there was teas, coffees, get people through the night, and so everybody has got in behind it this year. It's one of the few years where we got new faces in, and the backroom staff in Donegal, and our kitman and Tom Neville from Kildimo and Tim O'Connor. So they're doing unbelievable work behind the scenes, and so it's been good so far.
Yeah, I suppose, Anthony, it's London, as I said, is the opposition. What do you know about them? As far as I know, you haven't met them even in recent years, or maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but obviously London is a different dynamic in terms of, they're flying in for the game and all the rest of it. So what do you know about them, and what can you know about them heading into this match?
Well, Tom, we played them last year over in London. We flew over last year, played them in London.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I think
Early
4
Saturday
points.
morning flight, was it?
Sorry?
Is it early morning flight? Is that it?
Yeah, we flew out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we played them at, I think it was 12 or 1 o'clock. We played them in Ruislip. They beat us by 4 points the same night, or the same day. Look, they have been in a Division 2 final and a Division 3 final in the last 2 years, and so they're in the Challenge Cup with us this year. So it's a lot of players from the north that have played with them. They are going to be strong. They are going to be physical. But sure, that's you're going to get in the final. You want to play the best team. So so look at hopefully we give a good account for ourselves, and that London, we're in for a battle, but we're ready for a battle as well.
Yeah, and what's the final prep? Have you the team picked in your heads at least, or have you put it on a paper? Are you at that stage now where you're trying to get everything ducks in a row, literally, because it's coming? It's going to be coming thick and fast now, isn't it?
Well, we have and we haven't. We have our last training session now at 8 o'clock tonight in St. Pat's. So we're going in there in a while for training session, and
one last audition, so for one or two maybe.
Exactly, the few to put their hands still up to us. And the good thing about it is we have we have panel of 34. We've 32 players to pick from. We have 2 players out. Ollie Dowling is out in injury, and Niall Mack is out in injury. So we have everyone else 32 players fit. So as strong as we can be, and so those players putting their hands up, looking for places. And hopefully,
yeah. Mike, so I think you're in a team, man. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, mate.
There's just, when I look at a list of clubs, every time I see the squad listed, like there's lads from all over, and I don't know how many of these you knew. We probably played against a lot of them down the years, but probably nice in some ways that you come together now and join forces rather than taking heads off each other on the field as you probably did back in the day, in some cases anyway.
Yeah, like it's. I was just thinking about today, actually, like the amount of players from different clubs. I'd say nearly every club in the county is represented in the Masters at the moment, bar maybe 1 or 2, which is great. Like, it's great. Like I knew a few of the lads. Obviously, there's a couple of local lads from Mount Collins, Maurice O'Connor, Seamus Lennon from Everfield. So I knew them lads before I went in there last year. But that's one good thing about the group is like you don't feel out of the group once you go in there. Like you don't have to work your way into the group. They straight away, like they help you out straight away, and you feel good about yourself being involved in the group. Like,
Yeah, sure, Matt.
Anthony, that one very interesting character in the London team, Jonathan Douglas.
There is, Tom, or Matt, sorry. I think he played a bit of a professional soccer with Leeds and Ipswich, I think, and he played a few times for the Republic of Ireland. He actually played against us, Matt, over last year, and he played midfield. Still a fit man. So I think in the semi-final against Laois, I think he got the goal from to win the game. So so an interesting man. Yeah.
Very interesting, actually, Tom. Anthony, a bit of professional soccer is an understatement. He made 505 league appearances.
Not too bad.
He won 8 senior Republic of Ireland caps, and he played for Leeds United, Brentford, and Ipswich Town, among about 10 clubs. So
I didn't know that, Matt.
So
yeah, but he couldn't use his hands for any of them, like, so, you know. This
yeah. Michael, the whole Masters concept, first of all, I suppose it's basically about football, but there's a very, very big social side to it as well.
Yeah, it's huge. Probably too much to tell you.
What you say next? Oh yeah.
No, it is like, because like, even, you know, there'll be lads there sometimes, you know, might go through tough times and things, and you'll have lads around you to put hands around you, like, you know, it's a great, like, it's a very good support group as well as, you know, as well as a team, like. It's like, I was even trying to get one or two of my own lads this year for my own club to try to get involved if they could, like, just to express how good it is to be involved with a group like that. Like, you've, like, it's really good like this, that you can just, if there's any issues or problems in your life or anything that you could share with these lads, there's no issues that way, like, you know.
But Michael, win, lose or draw, I understand that the Masters are well able to let their hair down.
Oh, we are, yeah, definitely. We had a couple of good nights out last year, and definitely after the Water game, we had a good night out as well. But yeah, look, that's what it's all about. Like, it's like, absolutely. Yes, we train hard on the field for the hour, but after that, then it's have the crack with each other, and it's like that. Like, again, like, the social side of it is huge. It's very important to have the social side of it, because, you know, like, when it's over and done with, then you miss it, basically, like, because it's gone for a couple of months. So I really enjoyed the social side of it anyway, as well as the football side of it.
Yeah, it's a point well made. I think sometimes maybe when we're, you know, involved in clubs, we're very serious. We want to win, and maybe we're afraid sometimes to just actually enjoy it for what it is, you know, win or lose. And I know I was playing a Junior B game here the other day myself, and like lads were saying, we lost by a point, but geez, lads, it was the end of the year for the Junior Bs up here in Knockany, and I as someone who's just transferred into the club, I see that they appreciate the fact they can even feel the team, you know, and there's no real pressure on to win. And I think sometimes a lot of teams are very serious, which is rightly so, but I think more teams probably need to realise that, you know, this should be primarily about enjoyment first. But make sure you bring back the cup as well now, lads, right?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, lads, you hear the man that's talking, and nobody takes it more serious than Clancy. Would go away.
Very, very far from the truth there, man. But lads, I suppose we're wishing you the best, obviously, in your final preparations this evening with the training. Hopefully all goes well, and indeed at the weekend in St. Peregrine's. Am I pronouncing it correctly? St. Peregrine's is the venue. So hopefully you'll have a good support from family, friends, and one or two other Limerick folk. I'm sure will want to see it. So I suppose we're wishing you the best.
Before you go, just one last question to Anthony. Anthony, the whole Limerick Masters concept, you know, for coming from one of the weaker football counties, it has been a phenomenal success for Limerick. Spirit Cup final 2023 and won it, semi-final last year, and now in the Challenge Cup final, and let's hope win it.
Yeah, Matt, this what it feels about we do take it serious. And said, Joe, we're probably one of the counties. We are back training since February. Mike will tell you that we started training in February, back on Sunday mornings. But coming from the master side of it, Limerick were actually probably one of the counties outside of the Ulster, where I think there's only 4 counties left in the 10 teams in the finals. There's only 4 counties. All the other 6 teams are from above an Ulster. So yeah, Limerick is we're thriving in the Masters football, but it's down to our committee that we have of Paul, Derek, Dermot, Liam, Gerlines, Mod, you know, and the players pulling in behind us. And the man who started it all in Joe McCahey. So, John, we're probably one of the few counties that are actually thriving, and we're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And look at, hopefully this year we'll drive on, win. No, we all want to win on Saturday, but look at, he's up there to give us a good account of ourselves, and if we're good enough, we'll win it. But it's to build on, Joe or Matt. It's to build on again for next year and the year after. And this, as I said, is only going to, hopefully, from Limerick point of view, this is only going to get stronger and stronger. And with the Hurlers getting to the final last week and losing, narrowly losing a heartbreaking defeat from, hopefully that's going to build as well. And we're all here, like, we're all GA people. We all want the best for Limerick in any sport to go out in. And so the Masters is no different. We want the best for Limerick. And yes, that's our plan, is for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, that we build and get stronger and stronger.
Michael, an All-Ireland winning captain from Matea has a lovely ring to it.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. It's be unbelievable if we win a Saturday. Obviously for myself personally and my club, my family, but mostly for the boys themselves, everybody across the board, committee, the team itself. I'd be chuffed, really chuffed if we win a Saturday.
Yeah, well, from the two of us, and I suppose everyone else, we're wishing you very best of luck.
Thanks, lads. Thanks.
We'll be expecting a call now for the celebrations. We'll
be in the woodlands. We'll be in the woodlands.
Very good. Keep the sponsors happy and all that. A good spot, in fairness. Lads, Anthony, Mike, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Best of luck,
lads.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Yeah, great to hear from the two lads there, Matt. They did touch on the hurling as well.
It's a movement, Tom. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's obviously a new lease of life for people that are so committed to Gaelic football. It's a wonderful opportunity for them, And I met someone lately that was wishing to reach their 40th birthday so they could throw in their lot.
Well, I'm 8 years away, so I'll have to get fit first. By the sounds of it, they sound like a very serious bunch in the right kind of way,
I'm over age, Tom.
Okay, right, yeah. The Masters plus that. No, look, best of luck to the lads. Obviously, they mentioned. I know we've camogie and ladies football to turn to Matt, but just to mention there that the unfortunate loss for the hurlers, pipped by a point. They were in a strong position early on, I gather, and
they were leading 113 to 6 points at half time. Roger Ryan, who captained Kildimo Palestinian to win the All Ireland and is formerly from Doon, he got the goal in the first half, and but there was a very, very strong win there, Tom, and they were level. They were level on the hour mark, actually, and just before that, Paddy McNamara from Marubohar, he hit the crossbar with a pile driver, and they were that near to winning it. Now Peter Tiernan from Caroline got the second half goal, but Galway got that late point to win it by 217 to 216. But Tom, it was a fantastic performance by Limerick. So insofar as last year, Limerick failed to win a game in the Masters.
Yeah,
and won a couple of games this year. Rightly qualified for the Challenge Cup final, and were only beaten by a point in the final, and unluckily beaten by a point in the final. So, congratulations to the lads on a great job done, Mike Flynn and his management team and the lads. They wore the Limerick jersey with pride and did us all proud in the Masters competition this year.
Yeah, here. So hopefully we'll go one better this weekend with the football. But well done to the hurlers on a much improved season, and hopefully 2026 will yield some silverware. Matt, turning to ladies football, we now know the pairings for this weekend's quarterfinals across the grades. But I suppose in the senior, we have to. I'm just trying to pull them up here myself. Have you them to hand there, Matt? But
I have them to hand, Tom. I have them in my head, actually.
Do tell.
Forgive me for having my own club first, but Ballylanders have the daunting task of travelling to Monaghan. Monaghan in the final round last Thursday evening, they beat the champions 211 to 4 points, Tom, and that's the second time that they have beaten St. Ailbe's this year. Now, to put it into context, that going into the final round, St. Ailbe's and Monaghan had both qualified for home quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Because just to explain to viewers, there was 4 teams in each group, and it was the group stage was nothing more than a seeding process of 1 to 4, with the top 2 having home advantage in the quarterfinals. So, irrespective of the result in Monaghan last week, it was both sides were at home. So Monaghan now play Ballylanders, who finished bottom of the pile. Now they suffered a very, very heavy defeat to Drumculloch Bradford. It was an alarming
I was just
size
going to say concerning. Yeah.
very, very concerning. Now Ballylanders are down 5 or 6 players from last year, and it's beginning to take its toll. Plus the fact that Andrea Sullivan is out with an injury. So like Cathy Mee is left. Trying to plough for it to
trying to tie it all together for the rest of them.
Yeah, to keep the thing alive. So that's a daunting task for them. Now, St. Elby's, they will face Ula in it's an All East in Carrelly. All these games, Tom, all the quarterfinals of the senior and intermediate are on next Sunday evening at 4:30, and just to explain, the winners of the 4 quarterfinals in each competition go into the A semi-finals. The losers go into the B semi-finals. It's a good structure.
Yeah, it is. We've read it many times.
At least at this stage, there's jeopardy coming into it, which wasn't there before. But I was saying Ula only got 1 point, Tom. They lost at home the first day to Drum Bradford. They drew with Ballylanders, and then they lost to Old Mill. So it looks as if Elby's will have the measure of them. Very, very interesting game, Tom, will be the meeting of Drum Bradford and Fiohanna. They're only a couple of miles down the road.
True,
now,
yeah.
Drum Bradford are having a very impressive season now. They picked up 5 points in the group to top the group, Tom. And they have the McCarthy sisters, of course, who've given so much to Limerick in the past. And the Cunninghams are back from Australia, which is a big, big help to them. And they're playing Fiohanna. So that's going to be a very interesting game. Derby games. Form goes out the window. And then in the final round, Tom, you have Old Mill and Mungret St. Paul's. A game that you will have more than a passing interest in. Now,
Mungret obviously got their first win of the campaign, and
if
you're going to get one in the group, might as well be the last one before you go into the knockouts. Might as well.
With the way the competition is structured, it is. But certainly they got the gods weren't. Weren't kind to them when it came to the draw, when they drew the county champions in the first round and drew the league champions in the second round. But they came good against Fiohanna Castleman. So that'll be an interesting game. Now, Old Mill have a doubt about Iris Kennelly, who would be a huge loss to them. But of course, they will have Roisin Ambrose on board. Yeah. Now, the intermediate quarterfinals are also taking place. Tom, Galtee Gaels. Tom, they were relegated last year. They have won their 3 games, scoring 12 goals and 46 points.
Not too bad. What's that? That's 4-12 per game, is it? Or 4-11?
They've got 4 goals in each match.
Yeah, it's about 4-11 or 4-12 an average per game. That's pretty good.
Unbelievable.
They're going to be at home to Atay in their quarterfinal.
They're at home to Atay. Now, Father Casey's, who won their 3 games in the other group, they're at home to Adair. Now, you have Maru Boher, who came second to Galtee Gaels. They're at home to... Father Casey's are at home to St. Bridget's.
I was just going to say, Maru Boher are at home to Adair.
Pick up a win. Maru Boher are at home to Adair. And a very, very interesting game is the 4th quarterfinal, Tom, where you have now Kenny, who were runners-up last year and who only won 1 game this year in the group. They're travelling to newly promoted Mona Lean, who won 2 of their 3 games. So that's if there was a pick of a one to be an exciting quarterfinal, that would be nearly it. I would say, Tom. So by Sunday evening, we will have the lineup about 6 o'clock Sunday evening, 5:30. We'll have the lineup for the A and B semi-finals in the ladies' football, senior and intermediate championships.
Yeah, very good. Best of luck, I suppose, to all concerned. That we'll know more then down the grades as well, as we'll come to those as they get towards the business end. Matt, camogie, we had another round last weekend, I believe.
Yeah,
so
we had, Tom.
how's it looking now?
We had another round, and we'll take the champions first. They're in Group 2, Newcastle West. They had a second win on Monday evening, actually. They beat Bruff 3-14 to 3-8. It was a high-scoring game. They previously gone to the Piarsaigh and beaten the Piarsaigh in the first round. So they're safely through to the A semi-finals. And Croke Kilfinney are also in that group, and they've lost both of their games to Bruff and to the Piarsaigh. And they'll have to settle for a B semi-final and they travel to Newcastle, and they play Newcastle West in the final round. But a very, very interesting game in that group, Tom, will be the Piarsaigh and Bruff, which will
winner takes all.
Winner takes all. The winner goes into the A championship, the loser goes into the B championship. Dead simple. Now, it's interesting in the other group as well. We were talking the last time that Killeedy lost to Monaleen in the first round. They bounced back. Killeedy won the league earlier on this year. They bounced back, and they went to a hand and won by 2-11 to 11 points. So they're right back in it now. You'll recall, Tom, that they were in the championship final in 2023, missed out on the A championship last year, and now they're right back in the mix. Now, Monaleen, Tom, are going very, very well. They have 2 wins. They beat Killeedy in the first round in Killeedy, and they beat Adair. Now, Adair are still without Sophie O'Callaghan. You saw Sophie on Saturday,
I did, yeah.
You know, she's still nursing that injury. And they beat Adair in the second round. So you could safely say that Monaleen are in the A semi-final. And it's a battle then for who will join them. But a very, very interesting game in the final round, Tom, is going to be Monaleen and a hand.
Yes.
Were Monaleen to win that, it could mean that a hand would miss out.
Yeah, that's just beating finalists to miss out. That would be a bit of a surprise, wouldn't it?
It would be a bit of a surprise. And also we have the meeting of Killeedy and Adair. Now, I think Adair are B championship bound at this stage after 2 defeats.
Yeah, don't see it get back in. Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Matt, thanks very much.
In the intermediate championship, Cappamore gave a walkover to Templeton.
Yeah, I know there's struggles going on, a lot of immigration, and
so that's disappointing. And the Bruff Marubo or the Galway Marubo, her game is deferred until Friday night. In the other group, Ballingarry, after losing in the first round, you'll recall they were runners up last year. They beat Crocora by 7 points to 6 in a low scoring game. But very, very interesting, Tom. There was the meeting in Patrickswell of the Junior A winners of the last 2 years, and the honours went to Blackrock Effin, who won by a single point.
One is enough.
So both games in that group were won by a single point.
Very good. Okay.
But, Blackrock Effin have 3 points after 2 games, 3 points out of 4. So they would look possibly to be heading towards the A semi-final, Tom.
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much, Matt, for the camogie update. Okay, folks, I think that's it. We've plenty over the last 80 to nearly 90 minutes. We do remind you that this weekend there's 2 streamed games in Limerick GA. That is Adair versus Ula in the Senior Football Championship this Friday, and then Doon versus Ahan in the Premier Minor Hurling Championship final. So